Right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Venison Jeffrey, and this is the Workers' Rights Platform. We are broadcasting live from the Workers' Rights Network. As promised today, we plan to take it down a notch today and to dive into some serious issues in and around Trinidad and Tobago. But before I introduce Miss Candice and the guests, as you would have seen from the thumbnail that was suggested, a matter of fact, tonight we are going and start with our interview. There are a lot of things that is persistent within the public domain that, we would like to do a bio of the person that we are going to interview here tonight.
Former Member of Parliament for Komodo/Manzanilla. She is currently the Deputy Chair of the National Alliance for Transformation. Mrs. Christine Hosein has spent most of her life defending the rights of the impoverished and underprivileged. She's an advocate for social justice. She has a wealth of experience in governance, having functioned in several capacities before her appointment as the Minister of the People and Social Development. The former senator has an acute knowledge of the Ministry of the People and Social Development, having worked as special advisor to the Prime Minister, the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, in 2014 before she became Minister of the Ministry in 2015. Prior to her appointment as special advisor, Mrs. Nawalo Hosein served as an advisor to the Minister of Trade and Industry in 2010 and then to the Minister of Tourism between 2012 and 2013. In 2013 she was appointed as an advisor in the Ministry of Housing and the Environment, and later in that year she served in a similar capacity in the Ministry of Land and Marine Resources. As an advisor in the various ministries, Mrs. Nawalo Hosein was instrumental in planning, organizing and coordinating the development and implementation of policy-related matters relevant to the ministry's long and short-term programs and projects. It is this experience, capability, and competence that she brought to the Ministry of the People and Social Development. Nawalo Hosein is also well respected for the social and community work that she has done throughout her life. In 2006 she was a director of YESTT, and between 2007 and 2008 she was coordinator at the Caribbean Center for Human Rights Victim Support Unit. A past pupil of Providence Girls Catholic School, Nawalo Hosein obtained her MBA from the Anglia Ruskin University in 2016. She obtained a certificate in communication studies from the University of the West Indies in 1992 and completed courses in human relations at Dale Carnegie in 1988.
Right, so we are back, and that was just a quick headlines concerning our guests. And at this point in time, I will introduce you to Miss Candice Edwards, in which we'll give a formal introduction as to the guests tonight. Miss Candice Edwards.
Pleasant good night, everyone. Welcome to the Justice Advocate Program, where we shine a light on human rights issues and give a voice to the voiceless. I am your co-host, Candice Edwards. Today we have a special guest, Ms. Christine Hosein, who will join us to discuss the recent comments made by Minister Young in Parliament and the broader implications of crime in our communities. In this episode, we will explore how these discussions reflect on justice and accountability in Trinidad and Tobago. Join us as we delve into these critical issues and advocate for change together. Let's get started.
We have a little audio problem. We not hear it. No, we are not hearing your audio. Right. So we in the middle of fixing this technical issues that is taking place at this point in time. We're not hearing the audio. Check your audio a little bit, Miss Hussein. Yes, we still looking at the audio issue in the background. Now, this is a very interesting topic, so please do not leave the live stream. Share the live stream because there are certain things that we are going to discuss here that may be of a good report to you this afternoon. You know, diverse perspective on what is taking place within the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. And whilst we wait, still had to do some gymnastics here behind the scene. Candice, you are on by the time. Whilst we deal with the issue behind the scene, you are on by the time.
We are here to discuss this present issue that we the video that came across social media with the Minister Young when he was being disrespectful in Parliament by calling the opposition leader. Yes, I'm hearing you. Right. Well, I'm hearing her. Yeah? Anyhow, where he would have made some dirty remark against the opposition leader. And we, the public, find that to be very disrespectful. So we are looking forward from Minister Young for an apology, because this is not how grown people should behave, in public office. And when grown people behave in this manner, what they leave for the young ones. And as I always say, if the head ain't good, the tail cannot be good. right? So we are expecting a public apology. And while we are waiting for the guests to come back on, we are, yes? Okay. Uh, okay. You know, I find that to be very, 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 very disrespectful by calling the opposition leader out of her name. You know, and this is somebody who the prime minister is grooming to be the next, I believe, the next prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And when he behaves in that type of manner, that kind of disgraceful manner, how would he expect the public to embrace him? And you see, the thing is this, what I find with this PNM government, they are very insultive people. They're very insultive. And they blatantly showing to the public that they do not care about us. Because when serious issues are taking place in the country, they continue to turn a blind eye. They do not address it. They do not address the situation at all, and they just sweep it under the carpet. And this is something that we, the public, have to take notice of. We have to take notice of this. We cannot continue to sit down and allow these people to walk all over us. I was reading some article where they stop the food cards. So this government just come in power and just taking away everything for the poor people bit by bit. You know how much people depending on that food card? And when you take away that food card from these poor people, what you leaving the people to do? That clearly shows to the public, if this food card is feeding your family, giving your family, at least it may not be able to give you 3 square meal a day, but at least it's giving you one. And out of that one, they decide to take it away from you. And all they still want to jump up and ball, great is the PNM holding the balize and with a hungry belly. No, I would like people to, the callers, in a time and when Mr. Rendison opened the line, I would like some of you all to call in and voice all your opinion on that. They're raising gas prices, food prices going up. They take away the food card. They're implementing tax. They're coming up with all kind of things to pressure the poor man. And you people still want to stand with a bold assurance and a clear conscience to say, great is the PNM. How great is the PNM when the PNM is the one that leaving us to be hungry? Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Let that sink in the minds of you, of, well, I would say you all, of in our mind. Let that sink in. While they're telling you and I to tighten our belts, while they're telling you all to tighten all your belts, tough days ahead, these people living lavish lives, comfortable lives, them and their family. And we living like if we are peasants. So whatever little they throw on the ground for us, we have to make do. When we supposed to be living comfortable lives. Look at the state of the economy. Look at the state of the country, where you have officers committing crime, where you have the bandits dressing up like police and committing crime. And these are the main issues where this government, this PNM government, supposed to be addressing at this point in time. And they're turning a blind eye towards that and say, you know what? We do not have a serious crime problem. They could say that because you know why? The crime does not affect them. We are the ones at the target. We are the ones at the easy target. and all you still want to continue to vote these people. And you know what I'm watching at? The PNM coming up with all kind of strategy just to degrade the UNC. But when you really check it out, when you do the maths, how long the PNM in government for? 9 years. What have they done for the people? What have they done for you and I more than telling us tighten we belt, tough days ahead, and it's only tax. Tax across the board. Now is the time for we, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, to wake up, you know. Now is the time for us to wake up, you know. Now is the time for us to wake up. We cannot continue to live in this country like this. Right now, Guyana better off than us, you know. When Guyana was a country that was suffering, when you had us to pay $1,000 for one bread, if we continue like this, well, you know, just know the way how Guyana was going through their sufferation, I will bring down us. You know, that is going to happen to us in a short time. Because you clearly see every little thing, every little avenue for the poor man to live and survive. The PNM government shutting it down. And they want to curb crime. They want to curb crime in this country. How can they do that? When you're leaving, you're not creating avenues for the people to survive. The place done hard already. At least do something about the high food prices. No, they're not going to do that. You know why? Because the PNM mind is only fixed on the 1%. That is why the prime minister of and imagine that, you know, a man who we would have voted for, dip with finger by the Balize for, turn and telling the citizens the rich had to get richer for the poor to survive. I would have seen a clipping today, and it really drive a stake to my heart to know that the prime minister, who is the head of this country, who we the citizens would have voted for, came out on national
Can, Candice, the site just went down. You see what's going on? We had to try it that way. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, we are going to. There is a little technical difficulties. We are coming back in a short while. Stay tuned. Right, we are still trying to rectify the problem behind the scene. Hey, Candice, well, you're back on. You're back on. You said what? Yes, Miss Edwards, are you hearing me? Well, you are back on. It's just that we're trying to rectify this issue here. Go ahead, Miss Candice.
Good night again. So as you guys see, we are having the devil is a liar. We are having some technical difficulties. And you know, when you're doing something progressive, you know, the devil is trying to put asunder and put a stop to it. You understand? But we will fight and see through. As I was saying, we cannot continue to live in this condition while they live in lavish lives, comfortable lives, eating the best and drinking the best, and we, the citizens, continue to be living in poverty. That is not right. But you see, we, the citizens, we have to make the change. We have to make the change. We have to stand up and say enough is enough. We have to put our foot down. We cannot continue to live under this condition. Look at that. All this government do in this election is add $2. Imagine that, $2 stinking onto the minimum wage. But they raise electricity, they raise water, right? When don't talk about food prices, that done gone up sky high. How they expect you and I, the public, to live? And the little food card for the poor people, the little food card for the poor people to go by, they stop that too. And then eventually, with the house tax, they come in to take away your house and put you out on the streets if you can't pay that house tax. So tell me, what is the purpose of this PNM government? I would like anybody to tell me. What is the purpose of this government? And you know, it's still a people jumping up and bawling, great is the PNM. Why it is always so wicked to all yourself? So none of you all could come to consciousness. Is either that or all your shame. We, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, we need to put aside this. You see this racism thing that we have in us? We need to stop at that. Is every creed and race finds an equal place? We need to stop at this racism thing because look how long the PNM government here is 9 whole years. What they do for us? All kind of crime taking place. Where it start to involve the police and all start to commit crime. Bold face, and nothing is being done. Murders every day. I think we reach up to 500 and something murders, and it's only the month of October. We have about 2 more months and a half to go. And none of the ministers, not even the prime minister, is coming up on air or giving some kind of holding some kind of press conference and dealing with the commissioner in regards to how they're going about dealing with the crime situation. So it's we the people have to fend for ourselves. And you know what's the hard part about it? People lost faith in the police. So that one bad apple spoiled the whole bunch. And I want to believe that's why a lot of people taking crime into their hands. Because when you go in the station to make a report, the police are really taking you on. It's either they don't have vehicle, or they rough you up and they turn you away, or they tell you go and put the person in court. When they are the ones to try and, you know, maintain the law of the land, they're not doing that. So we can safely say the whole of Trinidad and Tobago is in a mess. Whether all they want to admit it or not. We are not safe on the streets. We are not safe in our homes. We are not safe in our jobs. We are not safe no way. Because you can be walking down the street, you and your family, and pick up stray bullets. Oh, and then someone told me that he want to stop the overtime for them police and them. So when they stop that overtime, them police and them and there's only humans. You know what going to happen there? The whole of Trinidad could burn down and they ain't care. What's really going on in Trinidad and Tobago? Why this man? I find Rowley should call the election. May set a date for the election. Call the election. Because the way how this government behaving, like they know what the fact that Rowley could come up and say in 2027 we'll be having some tough days ahead, is because he know what he's saying. What if what if what if the PNM should come back in power? Or they ever stop to think about that? We done living in hell already. I could only imagine what going on take place. They're controlling the news media. They're controlling everything. Thank God for social media where you and I and all these bloggers and TikTokers could come out here and voice our opinion so that people could the whole of Trinidad and Tobago could see, at least the ones who not technical, who not, computer savvy, because they're not showing these things on the news as much, they're hiding that. So the YouTube channel and the TikTok and the Instagram and Facebook is what people are using to see the news, to see it as it is. And, uh-huh. All right. Can I do that now? Right. So, guys, we were having some technical difficulties and I was keeping you guys, a bit informed, but now we are back and I am here. Again, I'm going to introduce Miss Hosein, right? Miss Hosein, welcome back.
Thank you, Candice. And thank you so much, Mr. Jeffrey, and to all those who are listening and viewing us. I really want to thank you for your patience.
I would like you to um in regards to the recent comments that was made by Minister Young in Parliament, I would like you to tell us, tell us a bit about that. How you felt about it.
Candice, you mentioned a number of things that that crossed my mind when I heard it. First of all, it says in Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinking in his heart, so is he. And I wondered at that point if Stuart Young was having a callback of what it is he would have been doing. But then it pushed that aside, and I said this was utterly disrespectful, not only to a woman, but also disrespectful because Parliament is supposed to be a hallowed place. It's where we come to discuss the people's business. And so there has no place in Parliament discussing issues like that. Is no place anywhere, whether it's in your home or wherever it is. And so I felt it was disrespectful and it warrants a full apology from the minister. And the apology that he gave is inadequate. It was almost as though, don't be distracted by those things, just move on. So I don't accept that apology, and I think that he should be brought before the Privileges Committee. Further to this, I do believe that the speaker who was
But I feel they're jamming this thing, what they can. Right. So as you see, guests. So you see this sort of drama that we're facing tonight. You understand? A lot of technical difficulties. It's as if they're jamming the program. And let me tell you something, the devil do attack. The devil does only attack good things. And you see what we're doing here tonight, exposing all the neglect that this government is doing to us, all the hardship. All right, all the hardship that we are facing in this country, they don't want that to come out. They don't want that to come out. So you see what's going on. They have their jammers jamming our program because this is the first time this ever happened to us in a very, very long while. But nonetheless, we have to keep on pushing. Nonetheless, we have to keep on pushing. We have to make a stand, my brothers and sisters. We have to make a stand and put our foot down. We cannot continue to live in this country like this. We cannot continue. How much tighten you go tighten your belt again? Tell me, it ain't no more loop to tighten again? You can't even go with the salary that people working for. You can't pay bills with that. You can't send yourself to work. You can't put food on the table. You can't even send your children to school. How this prime minister, this government, this present government expect we the citizens to survive? But then again, remember, when he said, who live, live, and who dead, dead, he meant it. And to think that is our prime minister that we jump up and ball, great is the PNM. How great is the PNM now? When you as a prime minister, the head of the country, the father of the nation, hearing your people crying out, for sufferation, for hunger, begging for safety. Look, as a businessman, you're not safe. As a businessman, them looking to meet you and look, somebody would have put up something on TikTok where the bandits and them calling and stating how much money they want. And they would have done stalk the people them home already and telling them how beautiful their daughter is. So you know what going on there? They don't start to mark the woman child. And I think it was a lawyer, between a lawyer and I think her husband, whoever, has a drugstore. So them done come up with a plan already to snatch the woman, the people child, for ransom. But how come when is a government minister get, something happen to them, how come they just get a sting operation and apprehend a whole bunch of people to question them? And something like this, where citizens who working hard to make an honest dollar to take care of their family, and something like that happen to them, they can't get swift justice. It's about the people. Isn't the PNM, didn't the PNM say they are the party with integrity? That they are for the people? But this clearly shows with that type of behavior that they are having, they are not for the people, they are for themselves. This PNM government is all about self, one, self, two, perks, staying in power, and the eyes is set, fixed on the treasury, not the people. And if we continue to let this government walk all over us, sad is going to be our portion. Trinidad and Tobago, we could come here time and time again and talk, but it's up to you and I to make that stand. And enough is enough. We are tired. We are tired of this PNM government. I could safely say I speak on behalf of all my brothers and sisters. We are tired of the PNM and we would like them to go. Give somebody else a chance. They're doing enough. Because you can't tell me, look at the country, crime has gone off the roof. Where the police involving themselves in crime, and they can't tell me no because we've seen it on camera every day. And there's nothing all they can do about that. Nothing at all. So what about all them sting operation? So what happened? All they can put that into action and start to sting people. You know why? The law of this land is for the 1%. Me and you,
Hello?
the poor. Hello?
Yes, Candice, we have Miss Hosein online here. Because of the technical difficulties, we had us to do it like this.
Okay. Well, Miss Hussein, well, when we can't do it one way, we have to do it another way. And it's so much. And I know you have a lot to contribute tonight, but the devil's so busy. But don't worry,
I
we will take
know.
our time and we must get it done.
All right, not a problem. I'm
Yes.
barely hearing you, but I'm bearing.
Mr. Renison, the volume. Because my volume is all the way up. Check, I don't know what.
You will be able to hear loud and clear now.
Right.
My volume is all the way, but it's not a problem. I will try my very best.
Okay. Right. As we were saying before, we were rudely interrupted by these technical difficulties. Go ahead from where you left off.
I was saying that,
Mhm.
when I heard the remarks, I was deeply disturbed because of the fact that, the parliament is supposed to be hallowed, and meaning that we are there to discuss the people's business, and that there must be a level of decorum and respect for each other. When
Mhm.
you're dealing with particularly women, I feel that there's a greater need for respect because of the fact that, the type of language and the type of banter that you would hear, it needs to be, put in proper perspective, because remember, this is being aired live, and persons who are looking on look up to us as leaders, and they expect that whatever behavior that they see and they hear, that they can emulate. And so, therefore, when we hold office, what we say and do, unfortunately, gives credence to persons out there to repeat what they say and they do. And this is where the problem lies. We have to set the standard. We have to set, the tone. And this certainly has not been the case in the past couple of parliaments. So for Stuart to come and make a statement like that, he has followed in the footsteps of his leader, who has always been threatening, MPs. While I was there, I know that he did make a comment to Rudal to meet him on the pavement. Those types of bullying tactics that that we are seeing now, being replicated in our society. It stems from there. And you said it, Candice, when you were speaking earlier. I was hearing you, and you spoke about, it is from the head that, that it rots, a fish rots from the head down. You don't have problems
Mhm.
coming from the tail up, it's from the head down. And so therefore, we need to be responsible leaders when we come into office. We need to understand that what we say and do impacts upon our society. And the apology that Stuart Young gave was unacceptable. It was inadequate. As a matter of fact, it was very dismissive. And I do believe that the speaker will give a very definitive ruling. And the reason why I believe that is because just recently, I don't know if you're aware that the former and current women parliamentarians formed a group called the WPTG, that's the Women Parliamentarians of Trinidad and Tobago, of which the Speaker of the House is the current president. And we just trained 40 plus women on how, we have to have, behavior in the parliament. So I'm very confident that she will, uphold a ruling that will be, in fact, one that the nation will be pleased. At least that is what I believe, because of the fact that we have formed this committee to be able to bring about a change, a transformation of how Parliament functions. It leads now into, why it is our society is so messed up, is disillusioned. It's a lot of things are happening that are so chaotic, and it's because of our leaders. Our leaders that don't understand that they have a responsibility. Proverbs 29:2
Exactly.
says, he rules. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked, rule, the people mourn, and the people are mourning. It's almost as though wickedness has taken over the land because of the type of leadership that we have, in office. They come with an attitude that they know that we are beholden to them. They don't realize that they're there to serve. And I have been in the parliament on two occasions, one as a senator and the other as a member of parliament. And, it was to serve. It wasn't to serve oneself. And I think there's probably you need to clarify who you're serving so that when you come into office, you understand that it is the people that you are serving. So I really hope that something really takes place positive out of this situation because I think it has gotten out of hand. The people are frustrated. Who can we turn to? You spoke, Candice, earlier about, the social media is where, people are getting their news. You want true news. You want the truth. You want, you don't want to be deceived. And that's where you have to go to social media to get the truth. And it's
Yes.
unfortunate for that.
Yes. And you see, the thing is that it is so unfortunate because you know why? They don't want this. They don't want to make they don't want the government to look bad, right? So they let in the public because I mean to say news media is where the public will get information as to what is taking place in the country. So they're putting a muzzle on that. So if they keep the lid on it, you understand, people on the ground, the man on the ground will not know what's taking place. Right? And I mean to say,
Agreed.
although there are a lot of people who does be on social media, on the TikTok and the Instagram or whatever, then it have a lot of people who don't know about these things. Right? So they will go about, by hearsay. But I find that is unfair
Yes,
to the public. It is unfair to the public.
it is.
We the
It is.
citizens, long time older folks used to sit down by the television as it's 6:30, 7 o'clock. They're sitting down to listen to the news and you're getting the news. Now they're not doing that. If something come up, and it's not today they've been doing that. Is yes, they're controlling you, what you see and what you hear.
What you hear. Yes,
Right? So the
absolutely.
fact that they can come up and say that we do not have a serious crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago, they expect the public, the whole of Trinidad and Tobago to go with that. But again, thank God for social media and the TikTok and the WhatsApp and all these TikTokers and everybody coming out and talk. And you see the thing is with this government,
Yes,
all kind of thing taking place, and these people, it's like this government evil to the people. They're wicked to the people. Because imagine this. When Mr. Gary Griffith was the commissioner, and myself and Mr. Renison just make a little joke about this. If somebody a man posts up a gun, or he make a threat, or some crime take place, you're just seeing a few moments later. I don't know how Mr. Gary Griffith used to do it, but that man used to do it, and he started to have the country under control where the crime is concerned. And all of a sudden, the Prime Minister used to come up and rate him. And all of a sudden now Mr. Gary Griffith becomes public enemy number one, and they start to say all kind of thing about the man. Although they would have said all kind of thing about this gentleman, he still put aside his feelings and come forth and offered his assistance to help deal with the crime situation, and they turn him down. And look at what's taking place in this country today, ma'am. We have a commissioner. When last you see her? When last she come up and say something?
it comes
It's
back down to
everyday
service.
murders, and we reach up to how much? I think it costs 500 and something now. And this man is saying nothing at all. They're not doing anything. It's like they don't care about we, boy.
They
And for
don't.
and for this
They don't,
Stuart
and this is
Young,
why.
go ahead, ma'am.
This is why the population has to make a decision one way or the other to vote them out.
Yes.
They must come to that decision, because if they decide to put them back in for another 5 years, then we don't have a country to look forward to.
No.
And many persons, can afford to go away and live, but and there are those like myself. I don't want to go anywhere else to live, but I want to live right here. And but there are others who can't afford to live. They can't afford to live anywhere else but here. The crime is
And
going to
that is
increase.
why, and that is why I keep saying, when I know for a fact it have, and listen to me, it have who on the outside that want to come home, frightened to come home.
That is
And
correct.
who here, and who is here who would like to leave, they cannot afford it. And then you have this our prime minister stand up on national TV and say, who live, live, and who dead, dead. And people still jumping up with their bodies in their hand. These people are, well, these people delusional, these people mad, like they're brainwashed.
Perhaps.
You've seen it, you've seen it every day on the news. Oh, let me forget the news because TV6 are showing you nothing. Only CNC3 might jump out and show you some what taking place, and they will still try to ban that. But you're seeing it on social media, people talking about it, and people have started decide to tell this man call our election because nobody don't want the PNM anymore. This man has bring this government has bring the country to nothing. Where you ever hear in history the police service is involved in crime, boldface. You cannot differentiate police from bandit anymore. And this is something I wanted to ask. The fact that the bandits and them getting the police vehicle and the uniform, how they getting it? Because a bandit can walk in the police barracks or wherever they just see the uniform and pick it up. Just like how the cell phones and the drugs and all of these things coming in the jail. You understand? And then the
Yes.
prime minister will jump up
Mm-hmm.
and say, don't blame he for the crime. So who we have to blame?
Well, Heinz said it. He said the citizens.
Well,
But how is it?
well, seeing that I'm back and we was here behind the scene trying to see about this whole problem is Miss Christine Hosein. I mean, in trying to still keep up with the topic, I see that we only talks a crime. And one of the questions we wanted to ask you coming on the show tonight was, what, in your words, what is the main causes of crime in Trinidad and Tobago from your perspective, seeing that you have this diverse background and you're around Gary Griffith? What in your own words is the main causes for crime in Trinidad?
I would say that, um, what fuels crime? Greed. Greed for a lifestyle that you can't
Afford.
afford, but you
Mhm.
want it, and you will do anything to maintain it. Greed is number
Correct.
one. I would say that anger fuels crime because
Yeah.
of the fact that a lot of people don't know how to manage their anger. There's a lot of stressful situations that cause them to lose control and they lash out and they end up, committing manslaughter. I'm not agreeing with anything. You asked what the causes, and I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
you have lack of opportunities. You know, we have a country that is rich, absolutely rich in resources, and yet there are a lot of lack of opportunities for our young people. There's too much time on their hands, and therefore they are involved in crime. Drugs, fuels crime. You have injustice. When people see that there's, the name of this show is Justice Advocate. When there's injustice in a society, people tend to take matters into their own hand, and there's a lot of retaliation. There's a sense of entitlement, which leads to bullying. You feel that you are entitled to certain things or certain services or certain positions. So these things all add together that create a perfect storm for crime to prosper in our country. And so I think, you need to have a two-pronged approach, and that is, I know that we have repeatedly spoken about the avenues and the resources, the tools to fight crime. The interventions for swift police coming into play to to deal with the crime and to fight it. But then you have where it is you can have a transformative behavior through intervention in the schools, at the homes, so that you have where it is you get the population to change their mindset about how they look at life, so that you hinder the crime from taking place. And then of course you have where the crime is already taking place, but you have your police service, equipped to deal with it, so that you can have uh, a quicker response to crime, so that it's much easier and safer for victims to be able to report, for people to feel confident in the justice system, because there is you're getting a quick turnaround in how you find your victims, and you find that persons are absolutely more responsible in dealing with the matters that are before them. But our police officers are not getting the tools. As a matter of fact, I heard today, I think the TTPS sent out a press release that certain tactical where it has to be returned. I mean, where does that happen in any other part of the world? Where if you don't give your police officers, they're putting their lives on the line to protect us, and they must not be protected. Something I have to be crazy about that. So I have no clue where the commissioner of police head is, and those who are surrounding her, who are her advisors and consultants. I have no clue where their head is, and I have no clue where the Minister of National Security's head is. They're certainly not working to make life better for Trinidad and Tobago, and to make life better in terms of being crime free.
Okay, so is this government? I mean, is the government doing enough where crime is concerned, as from from.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. When you remove the TTPS app, you remove the online reporting, you remove the hotline, you remove the gender-based violence unit, you remove the community policing. How does that indicate to any sane thinking citizen that this government is interested in fighting crime? If you could answer me that, then I would be able to probably reconsider what it is I just said. But I don't think you can answer me, because no one could give any reasonable explanation as to why you would do it. Why is we don't have boats, that are functioning on our waters, so to prevent, guns and drugs from coming in, and from, to hinder illegal immigrants from coming in? Why is we don't have an aircraft? Instead, we have the government has taken it upon itself to use whatever instruments that they have to be able to fight crime, to try and find all sorts of things upon their opponents to bring them down. Why?
So
It's because they have an agenda.
So-
And that agenda is not a good agenda. It is not in favor of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
So in general, what you are saying is that the tools to fight crime in Trinidad and Tobago, the government use it for their own purpose at this point in time. Then, and as you would have said, to tie into the statement that you would have said that they would have used the arms of state to fight their political opponent.
Yes, they're using the resources to fight political opponents. And you would find that in countries that hinder democracy, if you look around the world where you see that democracy is being stifled, that's the first thing that they do. They don't want anybody to criticize them. They don't want anybody to say that is wrong. They don't want anybody to suggest to them, you should do it this way, there's a better way. And that is what we are here for. And this is one of the things that I admire about Gary Griffith. You said it, Candice. He
Mhm.
offered himself, although he's not there, although he's a political opponent, he offered himself to help fight the crime. And the reason why he would do something like that is because he is Trinidad and Tobagonian. He wants what is best for his country. It's not about serving self, it's about serving the country and bringing the country to a place, to a level where it is, citizens can move about in their business without being, affected by crime, to curb, crime in terms of home invasions. Look at how home invasions have increased. Do you know how I came into this situation? It wasn't through a home invasion, through kidnapping. My son was kidnapped. You see an increase in kidnapping, and all of a sudden my mind goes back to the 2000s when my son was kidnapped. And I'm like, what the hell is happening in our country? And nobody says anything. Nobody is perturbed. Nobody. Is it that everybody is in a stupor? Is it that you're blinded? Is there some magic potion they've sprinkled in the atmosphere? And all of a sudden, everybody's like, you're going about their business as though, well, nothing is wrong with that. Something is radically wrong, and we need to have an attitude of, listen to me, something is wrong, and I need to wake up from your slumber, and come on board and say, listen to me, this has to stop, and the only way it will stop is to vote this government out, because this government for the past 10 years have shown that they are not interested in serving the people. They're not interested in protecting the people. They're not interested in making a better life for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The Prime Minister said it himself. He said he's there to make the rich richer, and they will, and who vexed lost. I mean, come on, give me a break. That is not how it's supposed to work. Everybody has an opportunity. That is why our country is so unique and beautiful. And yet our leaders are looking at it as though it's a joke. And they say it without any remorse. And that is the thing about it. And it's very sad, and unless we decide, that we're going to do something about it, and I'm not talking about violence, I'm never violent, I'm talking about using your finger, your voting finger, and decide that you're going to vote them out. Don't decide whether, a PNM killer dead, and I ain't going to vote PNM. Go out and vote against the party and say, listen to me, I will not tolerate it. I call on the PNM woman, why didn't you say something? Stand up and say something. Why are you so afraid? Or why do you feel because it's my own I can't say anything? What happened to the days of where it was, it took a village to raise a child? So are you telling me now that nobody could talk to your child? Nobody could say that your child steals something down the road, because you might get licked for saying that the child steals something down the road. And it comes back to the government. Yes, that might be a government. Yes, that might be a party. But if you do something wrong, you must be able to say, hey, something is wrong, fix it. Because if you don't fix it, all of us will suffer.
Now, you would have just spoken about a patriotic move in which, no matter what side of the fence, you should stand up and say something. But why you think they are not standing up and saying anything? Do you feel that, these PNM activists or PNM members are for country or just for their party?
Because there's this mentality called eater food.
Ah, yes.
You ever heard about eater food?
Mm-hmm.
So here what? I don't like how things go, but I get my little kakada. And you know what? As a result of it, people say, girl or boy, you better hush your mouth and just get what it is there to get. At the end of the day, you have food in your cupboard, and that cannot be. That cannot be. We all have a responsibility to stand for what is right. You don't have to be aggressive. It don't have to be, a bully. It don't have to be any of those things to stand up for what is right. Because if one of your children did something wrong, I would think you would correct them. If when my children came home, I went through their book bags. I would ask them where you get this pencil from. Because I did not buy this. My friend gave me. I said, go back and give your friend. Your friend, mother, and father had to work hard to buy this. Give it back. You don't have that here. Oh, good. I like that pencil, See if you can get another one from her. So you encouraging the crime. I want to tell you about something that, I was caretaker for St. Joseph at one time. And I had a function. And there were toys given out. I was giving out toys. And I'm seeing, I'm on top of the stage and I'm seeing down below that, the place is not, packed, but yet I can't stop giving out toys. So I looked at this child and I said, you have a brother or sister? You have a twin? And she said, no. So when I realized the same child, but coming up. So the first time they come up with their mother. Second time they come up with the father. Third time they come up with the grandmother or grandparent. And so you instilled in them that behavior of it's okay to cheat the system. So now you'll find that these people are in government who have learned this behavior. So instead of taking the system and de-corrupting it, that is to remove the corruption and to begin to look at bringing in systems that would promote, justice and fairness and equity. You now decide you want to cheat the system too. And that level of thinking has to be addressed. And it has to be addressed from all levels of society. So you would find that even in the police service, because you were speaking about, how come it is that bandits are getting, police uniforms and guns to use to commit their crimes. If it is that they don't see it as being wrong, it means that they will do it and it will be, sweat off of their back. So there must be inculcated in our society what is right and what is wrong. Today we are looking at things that are evil and we're calling it good. And we're looking at good and calling it evil. And things are topsy-turvy in our world today. But it does not mean that we have to accept it. For those who want to make sure that it is correct, yes, we will be persecuted. Yes, we will be attacked. Yes, we will be told all sorts of things. But it's a choice that we have. It's either we stand for what is right or we just, go along with the system and we just decide, Trinidad and Tobago going through. But for people like yourself and Candice and me, and for those who are in the arena out there who are fighting for what is right, we believe that it can change and that it can change if we all sit together and make the changes. If we don't make the changes, then vote us out. But don't stand and continue to vote for the wrong things over and over and over, expecting that it will right itself. It's not going to do it.
Miss Hosein, there's a very important question that one of the directors on this side of the program here would have engaged me in. To put forward. Now we would have came here with a little history where you was in the UNC, and it say that you would have left United National Congress and joined the National Transformation Alliance, primarily due to your belief and the need for a significant change in the political landscape in Trinidad. And going down into the biography, he would have said that, one of your salient issue, what you would have cited when you would have not would have severed your ties with the UNC was a need for the leader of the party to engage the members meaningfully.
Yes.
What you mean by that exactly?
Well, I would say, first of all, just to correct a statement that you made, that I didn't sever ties with the UNC.
Mm-hmm.
It was the political leader, the hierarchy, who severed ties with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not one to barge in anywhere where I'm not wanted. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
just to clarify that. And when I went up against Kamala Prasad Bissessa, it was not that I was questioning her leadership.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, what I was standing against was that when the party took a unilateral decision to not have an election. She did, because we were coming into a general election soon. So I had indicated to her by letter that and to the general secretary that we have to lead by example, and we need to if you want to have to cancel the election, or if you wanted to postpone it, then do the proper thing and take it to the National Council and and to the National Assembly. There are two bodies that you have to go to, and they didn't. And this is how I decided to run against the political. It was simply to say, listen to me. I have nothing against you, but I have to stand by my convictions.
Mm-hmm.
And my conviction is that the Constitution says X, Y, and Z, and I'm not going to be a bystander to say okay because I love you, that I'm going to say it's okay. If it's wrong, it's wrong, because it matters not who it is, because if I'm wrong in something, I would think and I would hope that you would tell me, Christine, what it is you're doing or what it is you're saying is incorrect. And that you would perhaps, give me an explanation why it is incorrect, so that I can be given the opportunity to correct it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So as a result of that, I was not, it was not appreciated, I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not, I did not retaliate in any way. I did not cross any floor. I did not disrespect anybody. As a matter of fact, anything that they asked, I was willing to assist in terms of speaking in the parliament and doing whatever it is that was required of me in the constituency. But when it came, when I offered myself up again, I was told with there was no issues. I was told, you went up against me, and you expect me to support you in another term, and the answer is no. So my interview took probably less than a minute, and I was disappointed, because let me tell you what, I strongly believe in democracy. Mm-hmm. There are things that people will say and do that you may not like, but you don't hold it against them, because we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. If I have to do a quote, I would say we all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. We all have. But guess what? We learn and we mend and move on, because, I believe that I have something to offer. Mm-hmm. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be here. I've been in the position, and I have ideas. I have things that I want to see in my country, and that's why I'm here. I'm not here because there's any other motive. So the aspect of it is that I was not the one who severed it, but when Gary came on board, I had the pleasure of working with him. He was minister at the time, and he was extremely efficient, extremely. I know one thing about him that I admire very much, and is that I would say if I needed something, he would say, Christine, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. He would get back and he would say, yes, he could do it, or no, he can't do it. He would say no as to why. It may not be the proper thing, or it may not be the right time, whatever the reason. But if he said yes, he did what he said he was going to do. And I was raised to be a woman of my word, and I tell you, anybody who keeps their word, I greatly admire, and I had no hesitancy in supporting him when he asked me if I would join with the NTA.
And and
And
Miss
we
Chris
we
and
are,
Miss
yes.
Miss Christine, and there comes the next question, because seeing that you as a person so believe in collaboration and inclusivity, Gary Griffith's style a little more different. He is more decisive and he have a no nonsense demeanor. How your personality and that of the leader of the party, Gary Griffith, meshing? Because I mean, you believe in forming alliances, from diverse political forces, and meaningful changes. Because I would have, we'd have done a little research on it today. You understand? And we'd have go into some depth. So you would have been seeking transformation in the political landscape by addressing this disenchantment within party ranks. So how that meshing with a personality like Gary Griffith?
um, I think a lot of people misunderstand Gary. How he may speak, it may sound a little bit aggressive, but he's very passionate. And I think people misunderstand the passion, for aggression. But he's very amenable. Not that we don't have differences of opinion, but the wonderful thing about it is that he's always open to hearing views that are different to his. He's very open, very open. And so that's the most important thing that you ever want in a political leader, that they are willing to hear, and they're willing to change their views if need be. And and if I need to change my views, then he would give me his reasoning behind whatever it is. But um, I want to say this, and it comes back to the question you were saying when I was speaking to Kamala, that she has to come down to the people. That is something that Gary does with his governance team. He speaks very open, and he allows us to speak very open about any matter. And the reason why he is open like that is because, you see, in an alliance, as the name implies, National Transformation Alliance, you have to have open discussions. If you have a discussion with a member that you want to have an alliance with, and you don't lay your cards on the table, you go into an arrangement that can be very unstable because of the fact that you're hesitant to speak about certain things. But he's not. He's not hesitant to speak about anything. He's not hesitant to say what is on his heart and what is on his mind. And I think that is very critical to forming any alliance with anyone, that you must be open, and lay your cards on the table. This is not poker we playing. This is no, you're not hiding the cards from me and I, trying to, outsmart you. It is a matter of us saying, look, we want good governance, and how do you see good governance, and how I see good governance, and what system it is that we require to ensure good governance. Because we had two already alliances that that were on shaking ground, and yes, the last one was a lot more stable. It was a lot more. We were able to accomplish a lot more. I do agree, but there was still some level of this discontent, And as a result of it, this is what Gary wants to prevent. He wants something that could last for a long time, not for 5 years, not just for 10 years, but something that is stable, something that is secure, something that can ensure that the people of Trinidad and Tobago will benefit greatly from. So I believe that persons need to understand the personality behind the man, behind the man, and that is that he wants what is best for country, and what is best for country needs to be spoken out. You know, a lot of times, you know, even in, you speak to people and you're not open. You're afraid. Why are you afraid? You're afraid of what people think about you. You're afraid of whatever it is. When I went up against Kamala Basad, many people called me and said, Christine, if you went up, if you do go up, you know, you could lose your political, you know, value, and we don't want you out of the political system. And I said, listen to me, you know, if I'm out of the political system, then so be it. It's not what I want, but in order to let people know, listen to me, you're going down the wrong way, baby. You're going down the wrong way, and
And,
you need to get back on track. I'm willing to sacrifice
and Miss
my
Christine,
political yes,
you
honey.
you know what was you know what is very important that you would have said when that partnership alliance would have taken place, right? A new ministry would have opened. A matter of fact, the ministry of the people. You understand?
Yeah.
Of the people and social development, right? In 2015, you would have been involved there, where you focus on social welfare initiative and community support in your tenure. Now,
Yes.
today we would have gotten a bulletin that the finance minister would have stopped the food card initiative.
Yeah.
Now, what you think that how that will have, in your words, that I mean, you're the rightful person that I should ask this. How that will affect the society and people that you know. Of course, there are people that advantage the system and getting food card where they're not supposed to get and so forth. How you think this go affect the population of Trinidad and Tobago, where today we found out on social media the Minister of Finance, Colin Limbert, would have stopped financing stop the food card initiative.
You obviously are going to impact upon the most indigent. You're going to impact upon persons who depend upon this form of food support. First of all, it's not really much. I mean, with the increase in prices and so forth, but it helps in a long way. What we implemented as we demitted office, we implemented the biometric card, and the biometric card was really going to streamline the all of the services, so that there would it would have closed up the cracks and the leakages that would have been evident in the system, so that we would have saved. Um, I couldn't tell you how much we could have saved, because we didn't fully implement it in terms of, you know, having all the systems on stream streamlined, and the system ready, which I wanted, was to connect with Ministry of National Security, with the tertiary, because for persons to be able to be trained, because a lot of persons, there's that system of poverty that comes through a family. You
Mm.
know, one person on the food card and the other one comes on, as they get older and so forth. We wanted to be able to break that cycle by, helping persons become educated, whether it's for trade, because not everybody is inclined academically. So it was ready to help them to get a trade and to become self-sufficient, not necessarily to work with anybody, because there's so many people who are talented, but they don't have the confidence. So we were going to, include all sorts of programs, even working with the Ministry of Trade and Industry, working with the Ministry of Agriculture. That was my plan, that we would have worked with all the ministries, so that I was not going to be a silo, because ministries are operating in silos, and there's a lot of wastages in the ministries. So in the end, persons would have been weaned off of the food card, but they would have been weaned off, you know, with 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 a better um standard of living, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my plan actually, and but it didn't happen. And of course, I don't think that the government is interested in persons being independent, because if you're independent, you will become independent thinking, and being independent thinking, you will not vote for foolishness like what is happening in our government.
You know, we would have strayed from the topic a little bit, right? One thing I wanted to ask you in the things in the terms of crime, a matter of fact, what you think could be done better to attack this crime situation in Trinidad?
Well, I said it earlier when I said I think it's a two-pronged approach, and that is that we need to go into the schools. We need to, go into parenting. To teach persons first of all how, to, look at yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and recognize this in me. Is this a life you want to live? Is this a society that you want to create? So that you look at it in terms of preventative, and then of course you have where there's already crime in the system. How do you do it? How do you what can be done better to attack crime? You have to equip and resort your police service, the TTPS. It must be revamped. The systems in our country needs to be revamped so that it is more uh, in line with 21st century policing, and also with it is the way that the country wants to progress. I think we operate very backward, in terms of how we do everything. So there are a lot of people who are stressed. Look at, this is a crime, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We look at murders, and all those are serious. But people driving on the shoulders is a crime. But why do people drive on shoulders? Because of heavy traffic jam. I'm not agreeing with it, huh? I'm just telling you why. But it's a crime. So if we address, the problems on the roads, we could look at reducing stress. We reduce stress, you reduce anger. You reduce anger, you reduce crime. And so there are many ways that you could look at it, and there are many approaches that have been implemented in the past that are disbanded, but re-implemented. I believe that it can be, and I said it before. I said that we can, in how we can increase our detection rate. And we can revamp the prison system so that we could reduce recidivity. We can bring back the community policing, the gender-based violence unit, definitely. The online reporting, people are afraid to report. The CTPS app, fix our boats, protect our borders. These are the things that can tackle crime, and bring about a reduction in crime and bring safety and security to our citizens.
And Miss Hussein, as you been a strong advocate for human rights, what measures do you believe are necessary to ensure that marginal voices are heard in the policy making process? Because it's the reason why we would have brought about this channel here on YouTube and on Facebook, is that voices are being stifled to the point that when you see we in cases that we do empower voices are left unheard, and injustice tend to take place. What I know I carry on. You may forget the question. As a strong advocate for human rights, what measures do you believe are necessary to ensure that marginal voices are heard in the policy making process?
Well, I think I believe very strongly that there is a misunderstanding of the word equality and equity. And until we understand there's a big difference, and one can really marginalize other groupings without recognizing it, that we can do more harm than good. So there are a lot of voices out there that are unheard. Um, Children, I'm gonna say, the elderly, they are unheard. There's no voice for them. We have to engage stakeholders. The stakeholders are the ones that will inform government. Government is is supposed to be open to stakeholders bringing forth, the advice, bringing forth the solutions, and government's role is really to enable those voices and give them the necessary tools and resources to be able to help them. So it would be difficult for me to say what and how because each voice would require a different intervention. But I believe that through stakeholder intervention and consultation, you will be able to mitigate against voices being, going unheard.
Now, seeing that you never give up, you continue regardless the factor that you would have went against Kamala in elections, a matter of fact. What are your long-term goals in politics, and how do you hope to contribute to the future of Trinidad and Tobago?
How do I hope to what?
Contribute the future of Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh,
What
okay. Well, I don't hope to remain in politics for the rest of my life. But I would like to be in politics to make the difference. I think it's a beautiful time now. Why now? It is very chaotic, and out of out of chaos, you can bring so much good, so much stability. I think that we have some strong leaders. We have Gary and we have the UNC. We have other smaller parties that can contribute. And because of the fact that we all want what is best for Trinidad and Tobago, I believe that we can do it. I really strongly believe that we can do it. And I also believe that I don't think that I have to be there forever. There are younger, brighter people than myself who can take over. The whole point of being here and it is about transferring that that we have made and we have grown into a beautiful Trinidad and Tobago that we hope to do and give it to a younger generation who we would have been training by coming against training them, this is not the way to go, having their social issues addressed, not on Facebook where it is you have all these fights and so forth, but really address it so that when the younger generation comes up, we can hand over something that is secure and functional to a generation that hopefully will be by far more mature emotionally and mentally and politically, that we'll be able to see our country go forward in the way that we hope. But I don't believe that politics is something that I have to remain for the rest of my life.
Now, I have one more thought-provoking question for you. Now, the person that would have taken over from you was Mr. Rai Rakbeer.
Yes, right. Dr.
How,
Raghu.
how, in your words, you find he would have represented the causes of the people in the said community that you was championing for? You feel he doing a good job? You feel he doing a bad job? What?
I am going to be so honest with you and let you know this. I I did not want to. I don't really go in the constituency. I cannot compare myself. We are two different individuals with two different agendas. I don't know what his agenda is, but I knew what mine was. And that was when I went in there. I did not know how long I would have been there for, but whatever time I had, I wanted to leave a legacy, and I believe I have. That road, the Market Road, was traffic could have only gone one, it was a one lane, and is now a two lane. That's a legacy that I'm excited about. Um, in Fishing Pond, they didn't have a proper road. They got a road that is beautiful. That's a legacy, So I'm not concerned about what anybody took over after me. I just thank God for the ability to leave a constituency better than I met it, and that's the only comparison that I have. I compare what it is I did compared to what it is I met it, what I met. You'll have to ask the constituents about Rye.
All right, Miss Christine Hosein, what are your closing thoughts? I don't know if Candace, you want to ask any question concerning what was taking place there?
Well,
No,
my
well,
closing thoughts would be this. Uh-huh. Candice,
mhm.
you want to say something?
No, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead, Candice.
Right, okay. No, I would have listened to what Miss Hussein was saying, and she's quite correct, with everything that she's saying. And you can see she seems to be a very fair person and a concerned person as well, because this is not about the party, this is about the people, right? And she would have spoken how to get things done, how to better the country, how to put things in place. And that is what we want. We want the government that will put the citizens first, the security of the people. And we are not getting that, right? And as I always say, I know for a fact I'm not going back and vote the PNM because they would have neglected me and my family. They would have left us for dead. At the end of the day, the party who is coming in power, I just always say, Mr. Renison could be my witness, and all of you, as always say, whoever is the party that coming in power, they have to do right by the people, because the people are the ones who have been taking the licks for all these years, all the neglect. And you could clearly see that this PNM government did okay, right? And in my heart, I keep saying, I wish that that Gary Griffith and the UNC could, they could combine together, because so far this is the two parties that we really could we have, because the PNM showing me that they don't care. You understand? I really wish. I don't know how it could happen. I don't know if it could get premonition, if God could step into the mind and the hearts of Kamala and Gary Griffith and let them merge together as one, and let me take a handle of this thing and bring back Trinidad to the way how it used to be in a peaceful, loving island, Because at the end of the day, these politicians, they are gambling with my life and your life. They are playing with our lives. We is the ones that feeling the pain. We are the ones that are afraid. Look, somebody saying in the comments here, they don't know who to trust. Because if they see a police car coming, they're frightened. And the same thing has happened to me too. You don't know who. So I believe the citizens come first. And what this lady is saying is the first time I would have met her and hear her speak. And this lady speak as a genuine person from the bottom of her, from her heart. And Mom, I want to tell you, thank you very much. Because you just hear when a person is genuine. Despite of what indifferences, she would have had with the opposition leader, that already concerned me. But in my thing is this: the people before the party.
Absolutely.
You understand? The
That's
people
my
before the
closing
party.
thought.
Because
That's my closing thought. The people before the party.
right? So thank you very much, ma'am. We know we kept you long, and the devil does hate to see a good thing happening. So despite the fact with all the technical difficulties, we still pulled together and we made it happen. And don't be a stranger. We will invite you back here again if you would like to come back. And we will try and do this thing the
Sure.
correct way. Well, not that we didn't do it the correct way, but at least we'll pick up from where we left off, because we are sure we had a lot to say, but the time doesn't really permit us. And I know we kept you
I
on long,
understand.
and right? But we will do it again because we are for the people.
Amen. I'm happy to
Yes.
be here, and I would like to say good night to all viewers. I know that I'm not on you can't see me, so all the listeners. And thank you so much, Mr. Jeffries and Candice, for having me on. It was a pleasure.
It
Okay
was a
then.
pleasure on our side as well.
Pleasure on our side. Okay then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ms. Hosein, and have a blessed and safe night to you and your family.
Same to you. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Candice, well, that was a big conversation there, in spite of the little technical difficulties that was taking place. It was a lot. It was a lot. Trust me, it was a lot. And it out of all the nights, it bother me. That real bother me last night, Tonight. Mhm.
I hear Tanti Gale voice in my head, right? We can't afford, we can't give up, This is something small. It could have been worse. You
Mhm.
understand? This is something to show us that we had to try and come up with some ways to improve ourselves. Remember, we're doing this on our own. We are not getting any sponsors. Nobody in helping us. We're doing this on our own and we're trying to make a difference, right? So obstacles like this will come. We just have to stand firm, stand strong, plant our foot on solid ground and move on, right? So don't hold yourself down and say, shrug that off. That's what the devil wants. The devil just strive on disappointment. The devil just strive.
Hold on there a second. Good night, caller. Welcome to the Justice
Hello.
Advocates program.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
I'm
Good
listening to the
night.
conversation you just had with Miss Christine. You just had with Miss Christine Hosein
Mm-hmm.
and the NTA. Now the NTA with Gary speaks about crime and he talks about policing.
Mm-hmm.
But there are many other issues in the society, in the country that needs repairing. And we are not hearing that party espousing any ideas as to how to fix it. So Ms. Hussein just spoke about somebody driving on the shoulder, which is against the law.
Mm-hmm.
But if we decentralize and people are working in local areas, the roads wouldn't be so crammed and there would be not much traffic. We speak about agriculture to become self-sufficient. We speak about the gas and oil industry. We speak about the economy. We speak about many things, and there is no ideas coming from that party except to join to be part of the party, the governance, and not really part of the solution. So there are no ideas coming from them. Miss Hussein might be a very nice person, nice personality, might mean well.
Mm-hmm.
But the leader that she has, in my view, is not doing what is necessary for the nation to listen to him, to actually look forward to him making any difference in the country. I'll give you a simple example. When the Iron and Steel Company left, construction in the country went all the way down. Now, when you have construction, both in the government and private sector, you employ people of all walks of life. Talk from a construction person, engineers, right down to a plumber, an electrician, and everybody now will now repair their homes and we will stimulate the economy locally. How do we fix the foreign exchange situation? How do we fix crime if we're not going after the criminals? Well, people talk about changing uniform and this and that. If you go after the criminals and bring them to justice, you will do that, but they can't do that because in the narco industry, big people are bought out to turn a blind eye. You could put what scanner you want, it wouldn't work. You could put whoever you want in what position, they will do nothing. They will just stymie the process. The police service needs reforming. All of these old guys with old ideas who don't know how to function are now leading the young people to do all the old time, long time foolishness. So we stick in the 50s. And modern day policing calls for intelligent people who would go after the criminals and bring them to justice and bring evidence, as they talk about evidence. In the line, there's criminals, police, the DPP, and the justice system. If the police fall along, what is going to happen? And that is what is happening. If you change the uniform of the police officer, that doesn't change anything. The inspectors have to go out. They have to be known in the community together with the groups. The sergeants and them have to go out And when people know the police coming after you, it will fix the crime in the society and in the schools and all over the place. So it calls for a collective conversation where everybody will get together now and bring up the ideas and pull it together, and we'll come up with a program. And nothing is foolproof. It always have to be kept amending and amending all the time. But it calls for ideas, not talking about just joining an alliance. There are two main parties. You either join one or join the next one. When you want to talk and banter and want to negotiate and you don't have nothing. When Gary Griffith talking about 147,000 people, those were the breakaway faction from the UNC that went with Winston Dukaran, that went back home. So he has no support. So fall in line. You were given a third chance. First of all, you went against the party and they had was to fire you. Then you went with the PNM who went after the UNC. And then you come back now and you get another chance. And what you do now, you're bungling that. So Gary Griffith talks a lot of good things. But as a politician, he's a neophyte. And people following him and believe that this will happen so and so across the board. He needs to get in line.
No,
So there's a system that has to work, but everybody have to come together and bring their views and the ideas. When you go to a meeting and they say have consultation, you get 2 minutes to talk. What can you say?
you can't say much. And Kola, you know, I understand what you're saying about Gary. In come the different variations of the different parts of politics. We would have seen he would have always come into politics talking crime. And I believe they were the population see Gary Griffith as somebody that fighting crime in Trinidad and Tobago. I believe that, you know, they are different fingers and a hand. I believe I'm to see him as a leader, see him as somebody within crime and can make a difference where that is concerned. To be quite honest with you.
Let me just ask that question with crime, if you'll permit me.
Go ahead.
So Gary has a lot of ideas. If we have a system in place, then if Gary dies tomorrow for some reason or go foreign and leave the country for some reason, then the system continues. It's not about the individual, it's about the system. And if we fix it's just like the road network. If we fix the road network, then things will be okay. It's not about a man who knows how to fix road and how to patch road and how to patch a hole. It's about fixing the system in such a way that it will be accessible. And it's the same thing has to happen. And until we're not thinking along these lines, that we put a system because the public servants run the country. As we change politicians, they have to come back into the same system with the same constitution, with the same everything. So it is fine and bright and brilliant ideas to get these things to work.
And you know, that is what I was saying. You know. Now everybody have their perspective and how they look at solving the issue in Trinidad and Tobago. Gary come in with one specific side, really and truly, crime fighting. And if it was the model in which Gary Griffith would have bring a different approach, they would have talk about the communication grid where he was informing people and the quick response that we was getting. I'm not saying he perfect in it, but he would have done something that novel that we're not getting from these present commissioners and them and from in the past too. The only person that I would have seen that was close to that was Johnny Abraham.
Yeah, but it's not that Gary is not a good guy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying here is that you cannot only be focusing on one particular area and you have nothing else to suggest as a political party. It's the same thing with Michaela Pandey. Her father was an intelligent guy.
Mm-hmm.
She is there now and trying to piggyback on that, and off and on she'll come it and say something but doesn't say how is going to do it, how we going to work it.
Mm-hmm.
If while you're talking on the program here and on your program, you want to expand your program to get advertising and to get more people involved, then you have to come up with a system that allows for that.
Yeah.
And allows for proper conversation back and forth. And it doesn't matter if we agree or disagree,
Mm-hmm.
but the end result is what we look at.
Mm-hmm.
So once we're looking at the end result and how we're moving forward and in a positive fashion, then things will change. The biggest problem we have in the country outside of crime is foreign exchange.
Yeah.
And why can't we adopt the US dollar as the currency of choice? So we wouldn't have no US currency problem. Why can't we look at appreciating the dollar if we can't do that? To bring it to the value of Barbados dollar so we wouldn't have a problem outside. Why only one group of people alone can access that? Because they control the banks. How come the banks are them making profits even though the economy is bad and commerce in the country is bad? How come they decline all of these profits all the time? Are they laundering money? Is it the narco industry that's operating? Why all of these things not working all of a sudden? And then the people who are in charge, It's not their fault. It's everybody else's fault except theirs. But it's their responsibility to make it work, and they're not doing anything.
And you know, you
So I
would
can
have
continue this conversation for long, but I will occupy all the time. And
no,
as
no.
always, you need to give
Before you
others.
go, just now, caller, you would have
Yeah.
said something that very important. Now, the whole of the economy not really making money at this point in time. Real people feeling business closing down. And they would have said some why it is only certain entities still making this kind of money right now. Look, you talk about something about the banks. Look, KFC make millions of dollars. What going on? I mean, what is your thought pattern on that?
Well, it is a simple thing. Now, I have nothing against the Syrian community. They have worked hard. They came here on bicycles and sell cloth, and they have worked their way over the years and earned the position that they hold. They employ over 400,000 people in the economy, and so they have enough now to they can lobby government to get whatever they want. But who buys from the 1%? It's all these small businesses that buy. So they are the bigger 1%, really and truly, but they can't unite. So if they get together, they can now open banks and all kind of things in the very same way now and become a force to reckon with. And at the same time, grow the economy and have people working. Now, if people working and getting a handout, as Ms. Hosein was speaking about, you teach, in the religious thing, you teach a man to fish than rather than give him a fish. So everybody work and earn their keep. Once you do that, the life changes. So now I am feeling valuable because I'm earning what I have. But if I have to depend on you for a handout, then I have to vote for you all the time because I depend on that. And you keep me dependent. So once that is operating in that fashion, then I cannot move forward. I stick in a time warp and I remain there and my children follow the same thing. And it becomes a generational something. But if we were able to think, and the education system, as Manning had put it in place, started off, first of all, with Basip and the dollar for dollar move on by Manning, and also Ms. Kamala Prasad said so when they had YTEP and NESC to educate people into businesses and all kind of thing and all sorts of trades, then things would have been different. Then in our education system, we're not accredited to nothing else. You cannot go with CXC anywhere and get anything. So we have no accreditation. So when we export in human resource, they have to go and start over another 10 years of schooling before they could get a proper job. Otherwise, they'll go and wipe tables and sweep places and all that and live a life of poverty. So when we look at it in a holistic fashion, how do we fit into the global village? But when we go, we don't get time to talk these things. It's not 2 minutes. I'm going to cut you off time short and etc.
No,
So you cannot espouse your ideas and your thoughts and show them methods of how it will work.
and
So you give
caller,
an idea.
that is the reason why we have this program here, you know, for the normal marginalized person to express themselves. And this is an interesting conversation now. And know where you're going with this. You're talking
Yes,
about
so
putting
just so you had
system
a
in
guess.
place and not be dependent on government. And I don't believe that
Correct.
any party will want that to take place.
Yeah, I'll leave it one more thing before I go. You had a guess just now who is espousing to be in a high position into running the government and transforming the government. And here it is, you cannot espouse any ideas, any thoughts, any methods, any system. And we listen to that. And people who have understanding hear these things. And then what do we tell? Take a child, for example. A child now is called upon to do X, Y, and Z. And when they know, they are scolded. And big people do the same thing and nothing happens. And children are always told, don't. And they're never told, well, what you should use instead. Take, for example, a child uses obscene language. You tell them don't use that. But you don't tell them, okay, change the language and use, oh my gosh, what's happening? How do we fix this? So we change the wording so they're able to express themselves without using obscene language and without being vulgar. So it's finding methods and other ways of dealing with things rather than looking from this old system, which part is do or don't, you or me, or this one or that one. And instead, no, not just about consolidating ourselves, because if we change governments every 5 years, they'll be called upon now to perform. But if we have them in there because you look like me, well, then we ain't going away. And the country is affected, and people like you and me will never move forward. I looking at your program, I hardly see advertising. How you getting paid? How are you able to pay for this? For that to happen now, people have to buy in, to understand there's a place for me now to vent my thoughts, to express myself, to do things, and to get other companies now to support the program now, to make it one now that allows everybody to have a voice. And things will happen different. But we have to look at marketing and all the things that goes with that. There's a system involved with that. But we have to look at that from a holistic point of view. And if we're not doing that, and we watch it only from my view, and what you're saying now, because ideas comes from places we least expect. And this is what we have to begin to think. Well, let me, time is running out. I want to allow another person to express their view and
Well, thank
maybe
you
have
very much, caller,
some feedback for
for
you.
your contribution.
Thank
You
you
know.
very much, caller.
Candice, I mean, we would have said that we would have finished on time, but you know the people and them in the chat, you know. Good night to everybody in the chat. Miss Nadira, the PTSC what I was talking about, that is at the bottom of Golconda where OAS did have their main office there. I will send it there for you tomorrow. I go send it there for you tomorrow. Just call me. A matter of fact, I'll give you a call and you know we go set up for tomorrow. And at the same time, everybody there in the chat, Miss Nadiria, Jen from Palo Seco, Antonio Adams, Riaz. You understand?
We have Donna Ramlochan, we had Gail, we had quite we have Rudy, Ragupat, who else? Rajin Balkaran. We have a Joseph, Marshall Joseph. We have Jen, Nikki Nick. We had quite a few people tonight that joined the program despite the fact of, the technical difficulties. And we are so grateful for you guys, and well, tonight doesn't always be like this. Because and it's always a pleasure to be here with you guys on the Justice Advocate program. Because this program is all about you and I, giving the voice to giving the voiceless a voice. So, Mr. Jeffrey, I don't know if we have any more callers.
No, we have no more callers, but we reach to the end, and there's a person that is, hey boy, hey, let me end off on time. But but my appetite wet. I'm being real with you. Yeah, we had a serious program that would have been set up today, that would have been real informative for many of you on the outside there. And our slogan here is defending human rights, empowering voices. Now, that was something that I would have mentioned in the thing. Because, Candice, empowering voices is important. Yes, you hear me? Empowering voices is essential because it allows marginalized and oppressed individuals to share their experience and advocate for their rights and participate in the decision making process in affecting their life, a matter of fact, in what affect their life. And the thing about it is this: without empowerment, voices remain unheard and injustice can persist unchallenged. And what I am saying here is that we are challenging injustice. We know that, we might get much likes. And, at this point in time, we enjoy it. Like the program, like it tonight, so the algorithm could change up a little bit. And stay tuned, we have some when we close off here, there's the after show. When Candice go and get she beauty sleep, there's the after show where we are going to go into some statements today. Candice.
Yes, Mr. Minister, what we are about to do now? We are about to close off?
Yes, close off. Close off formally from the show.
Wow. It's always a pleasure to be here with you guys. And although we had, as I said, although we had some challenges, some tyrant challenges, we still made it through, right? And we cannot allow to our spirits to be dampened or let that deter us from reaching our goals. And our goals is standing firm in what is right and what we believe in, the freedom of the people, the freedom of your voice, freedom of speech, right? And we just have to keep on we fight. We can't give up. We cannot give up. We have to just press on forward and think about our future generation. Because when you look on and you see what's taking place in our country, it's death on either side, starvation, lawlessness on either side. And we can't, who can we turn to? We cannot turn to the government that is present because they're turning a blind eye towards us. And they're showing us blatantly that they don't care about us. Because if they did, they would have start putting things in place. You would have heard the minister of security coming out and saying something. The prime minister has a very loud voice, a very big voice, and he's very, he's a very strong man. He's a very stern person. He too would have come out here and say something, but he clearly isn't doing that. Instead of doing that is a lot of insults, and to me it's bullying, right? And that clearly shows to me, I don't know if you guys share the same views with me, but that's my view on this PNM government. It's a sort of bullying, disrespecting, and they really do not care about we the citizens. But come next year election, you will hear how much they love us, how much they care about us. But for the past 9 years, when you and I had to go without a meal, when you and I couldn't afford to buy books to send our children to school, when you and I couldn't afford to pay the rent or pay the mortgage, the light bill, or the water bill, and we were struggling, when you and I had to face this crime situation, where were they? But come next election, they're coming to tell you, vote for the party of integrity. Vote for the People's Party. And the same people parties, the ones that neglect us and leave us for dead. And as my prime minister would have said to the whole of Trinidad and Tobago, who live, live, and who dead, dead. And this message is to the whole of Trinidad and Tobago, even the PNM, the ones that are diehard PNM, don't feel that because you are a diehard PNM and you voted for the PNM and life will be easier for you guys. Hell no. Every one of us is going to feel the pain. So wake up and smell the roses. Now is the time. Because if you have a government and they are not putting the people before the party, what do you think is going to happen to us? When you have ministers telling you ride a bicycle and cook on a coal pot, and the rich has to get richer in order for the poor to survive, that clearly shows that they don't really care about us. And I am going to continue to sing that with every last breath in my body. Because it's not nobody who tell us that. He said it for himself. There are videos. I would have looked back at the videos from time to time and I felt hurt because I too was a diehard PNM. You couldn't tell me nothing about no other party. They are fighting to stay in power. For why? Why you think is the reason? What do you think is the reason? You see, power. A man will sell his soul for power. You see, once you get a taste of power, that's what they want. They want the power, the perks, and not the people. This is my closing statement here tonight before I said I would have prayed for the whole of Trinidad and Tobago because we need prayers. Because the government can't save us. The police definitely cannot save us. The only person we have to turn to is God right about now because it is sad to say our country, Trinidad and Tobago, is in a mess. It is in a sad state. And the only person to blame for that has stepped forward and said, don't blame him. So who is to blame? The opposition leader or probably us? But he said, don't blame him. The man who has the key to the city, the man who has the first and the last say, turn his back on us by saying, don't blame him. When he is the one that has the power to put everything in the right perspective. And that leaves me to wonder, who is really running the country? Is it the PNM is just a shell and there's another party behind the PNM calling the shots? You could never know. Because all cannot take place. Our borders isn't safe. We are not even safe as a citizen in our own country, not even in our house. Nowhere in this country we are safe. We are attacked by the bandits and the police. Who is going to help us? Who is going to save us? And we see it every single day that we have a very, 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 very bad crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago. And we have a commissioner, you're not seeing her, you're not hearing her, but yet still the Attorney General is saying we do not have a serious crime problem. It does not affect him, but it affects each and every one of us. So I want you guys to put that in all your pipe and smoke it. I want all you to sleep on it, think on it, digest it, and put that on and let that stick in all your mind. Do we as a people want to continue to live in this condition where you're not safe? Your children are not safe. Your family not safe. Cameras don't even house cameras don't even mean nothing anymore because the bandits and them coming with their face bare. They're coming with their face under mask. They don't care. This is a country this is a government we want to stay in power to govern our country. Even when Gary Griffith would have put aside his indifferences and decide, let me step forward because let me put the citizens, the safety of the citizens first. They turn him down. And they continue to say, because Gary was the only person that had a handle on crime in this country. And what they did, they turn him down and the crime get even worse. But who is going to save us? Who is going to come to our rescue? Trinidad and Tobago, it's about time. It's about time. Do not wait until the crime hit you and I home in our house to say, well, they know, yes, we should really take, Gary serious. Or we should really try to get rid of the PNM. Don't wait until because they don't implement this tax thing. Don't wait until they come and you can't pay a tax and they take away your house where you would have worked hard. You would have had the receipt for every nail, every bag of cement, every yard of sand and gravel to build your home, to see somebody else coming to take it from you and another family going to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Do not wait until that happens. Yes, we have to pay tax. We know that. But how can we pay tax? How can we live? Look at public servants. We are working on a 2013 salary. Imagine that. And all this government could give to us is $2 increase on our salaries. How are we going to feed our families? How are we going to live? And all they could tell us is tighten your belts, tough days ahead. Imagine that. Whilst they're eating steak, living lavish life, their family living nice life, they're traveling the world, their children going to the best schools. And ours have to go to a rundown school with bats and mosquitoes and flies and no air conditioning at the deplorable state when monies was allocated to fix the school, money's gone missing. And they cannot give account. Or they realize what's going on. Thank God for social media. Thank God for platforms like these where they're trying to sabotage every time. We're bringing the news to you all real, the facts to all you real. Thank God for a program like this. Yes, we're doing this on our own. We do not have sponsor, but here what you know, who is our sponsor? God is our sponsor. And we are going to stand firm. We are going to stand strong. Who don't like it? Well, let us take it to the Lord in stiff prayer. So tonight, Mr. Jeffrey, this is my final closing statement. I just had to say that, because I find, enough is enough. Enough is enough. And I am tired. I am tired because it is way on my mind. Every minute, every waking moment, when I see the state of my country, the kind of things that we, the hardworking, innocent people have to face on a daily basis. When the police service is supposed to be the one to uphold the law, they too has taken a turn and gone over to the criminal element side, that alone is frightening. So that shows clearly shows that we are out in the calling. Who is going to save us? Trinidad and Tobago, all your start to pray. This is all I have to say tonight, Mr. Rance, and to the viewers.
Right. So we read this portion at the show in which we are going to formally close off this segment. Candice, you can lead in a short prayer.
We ask for your intervention, your Holy Ghost intervention tonight, oh Father. There's no one we can turn to but you, Father God. Father God, in the mighty name of Jesus, we ask that you look down upon us in this land that we are living in, this land that once was the land of milk and honey, that has turned into sadness and sorrow and pain. Father God, we ask for mercy tonight, Lord. We ask for your Holy Ghost intervention tonight, Lord. Father God, I ask that you pass by each and every one of us, of us homes tonight, Lord, and touch our families, touch us, touch our families, oh God. Fill our bread baskets, oh God. Father Lord, be our guide, our chart, our compass. In everything we do and say, Father Lord, you intervene, oh God. Father God, we need it tonight, Lord, because there's a sadness that is passing through the land. Those who have the knowledge, who have the spiritual eyes and the knowledge can see and feel it, oh God. There's a spiritual heaviness passing through the land, oh God. Father God, and we call upon you to address it, oh God. We call upon you to deal with it, oh God. Father God, in the mighty name of Jesus, bow down and hear our cry tonight, oh God. Bow down and hear our humble plea, oh God. Father Lord, our country is in a mess. The heads of the countries have neglected us. They have sold us lies. They have given us lies and sold us dreams, oh God. And we, the citizens, are paying for it, oh God. We, the citizens, are feeling the pain, oh God. And we ask you, Lord, to intervene. Father, Lord, do something on behalf of these citizens, oh God. Put all the murders, all the kidnapping, all the burglary, everything that is not of you, put it to let it stop, oh God. Put it to rest, oh God. Eternal rest, oh God. Father God, you just take control. Father Lord, this platform, this Justice Advocate platform, oh God. Father Lord, Mr. Renison, myself and the other team and the rest of the teams, I lift us all up in prayer, oh God. Father God, I ask that you be our guide, our chart, our compass, our deliverer, healer, provider, and protection against all physical, spiritual, and emotional wickedness, mayhem in high and low places. Bind us together as in one accord. Help us so that the enemies will not be able to penetrate us, oh God. Father, Lord, help us to stand on your word, oh God, for on Christ, the solid rock, we stand. Any other is sinking. And Father God, you just have your way, oh God. Bless this program, oh God. Let it reach far and wide, oh God. Let it reach into the minds, the heart, and the soul of the citizens, oh God, so that they can know what is taking place, that they too could come out and have a voice, oh God, so that we can be their voice, oh God. Father God, you just have your way tonight, God. Father Lord, we worship you, we honor you, we glorify your name, we praise you because, Father Lord, you alone, Lord, is worthy to be praised. For without you, this couldn't happen here tonight, Lord. Without you, we couldn't have life, oh God. Father God, without you, nothing could happen. Father God, you just have your way and take full control in no other name but in Jesus' holy and conquering name. Father Lord, you have your way tonight. Have your way. Amen, amen, and amen.
Right, Candice. So good night, and thanks again for joining me. And we will be on again, audience, on Saturday. And we have a very interesting topic. Stay tuned, and you will see what we are speaking about. We will give away some hints. So, Candice, go and sleep.
Yes,
Good
Mr.
night.
Johnson.
Good night. My shift now start.
Okay.
Right. So, without further ado, I mean, this was a take that we supposed was to play in the first segment.
We have received feedback from various quarters, including senior politicians and media personnel, expressing concerns that the National Transformation Alliance is communicating too frequently and putting out too much information. To those who feel this way, we sincerely apologize if it has been overwhelming. However, this only confirms that the NTA is doing what no other political party has done before, making ourselves fully accessible and committed to keeping the public informed. Just as Gary Griffith, when he was Commissioner of Police, was criticized for being too efficient, too visible, and too communicative, we recognize that being proactive and transparent can sometimes frustrate those who are not accustomed to it. Yet, this is what raised public trust in the police from 14% to 59% when he was there. The NTA is adopting the same approach because we believe that the public deserves a government that is always working for them, always available, and always communicating openly. We are not here to put out one release every few days. We are here to address all concerns as they arise, whether it's health, education, the economy, energy, whatever. We believe in responding to each issue with the urgency it deserves. This is what sets the NTA apart, and it is the same energy and commitment we will bring into government. For those who feel we are over-communicating, we thank you for your feedback and assure you that this is simply the NTA doing our job, being hardworking, diligent, and ready to serve this nation 24/7.
Biography of Mrs. Christine Hosein, former Member of Parliament for Komodo/Manzanilla. She is currently the Deputy Chair of the National Alliance for Transformation. Mrs. Christine Hosein has spent most of her life defending the rights of the impoverished and underprivileged. She's an advocate for social justice. She has a wealth of experience in governance, having functioned in several capacities before her appointment as the Minister of the People and Social Development. The former senator has an acute knowledge of the Ministry of the People and Social Development, having worked as special advisor to the Prime Minister, the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, in 2014 before she became Minister of the Ministry in 2015. Prior to her appointment as special advisor, Mrs. Hosein served as an advisor to the Minister of Trade and Industry in 2010 and then to the Minister of Tourism between 2012 and 2013. In 2013 she was appointed as an advisor in the Ministry of Housing and the Environment, and later in that year she served in a similar capacity in the Ministry of Land and Marine Resources. As an advisor in the various ministries, Mrs. Hosein was instrumental in planning, organizing and coordinating the development and implementation of policy-related matters relevant to the ministry's long and short-term programs and projects. It is this experience, capability, and competence that she brought to the Ministry of the People and Social Development. Hosein is also well respected for the social and community work that she has done throughout her life. In 2006 she was a director of YESTT, and between 2007 and 2008 she was coordinator at the Caribbean Center for Human Rights Victim Support Unit. A past pupil of Providence Girls Catholic School, Hosein obtained her MBA from the Anglia Ruskin University in 2016. She obtained a certificate in communication studies from the University of the West Indies in 1992 and completed courses in human relations at Dale Carnegie in 1988.
Another crazy experiment that very closely mimics modern humans was done in the 1960s by a psychologist by the name of G.R. Stevenson. So what this guy did was he put 5 monkeys in a cage together and hung bananas from the ceiling. And anytime one of the monkeys would go to climb the cage to get the bananas, all of the monkeys would get splashed with ice cold water. And so the monkeys quickly learned. So none of them climbed because none of them wanted to be punished. Now the interesting part begins. What Stevenson did next was he took one of the monkeys out and replaced it with a new monkey, one who has no idea about the water. And so of course, when the new monkey gets in the cage, the first thing he tries to do is climb up the side of the cage to get a banana, and the other 4 monkeys instantly grabbed him, pulled him down, and beat the crap out of him. And this monkey very quickly learned, if I try to climb up the wall to get a banana, the monkeys pull me down and beat me up. So he stopped climbing up the wall as well. Now, one by one, they replaced each of the remaining 4 monkeys with new monkeys. And the same pattern happened. So in the end, you have 5 brand new monkeys who've never been splashed with water, ever. Brand new monkeys who've been brainwashed. But whenever one of them would climb up the cage to try and get a banana, the other 4 would pull it down and beat it up. And no one even understands why. And it correlates very closely to modern humans because this is how the media machine works. If you are able to brainwash a certain percent of the population, they're not able to think critically and understand, why am I doing this? Why do I believe what I believe? They only do it because they're told to by society around them. And I genuinely believe a lot of these experiments that happened in the 60s were used on the population and have been very, very effective. If you enjoy thinking critically and learning to understand the world from a unique perspective,
Right. At the end of the day, people are Trinidad and Tobago. We honestly believe that many of you are brainwashed through this politics that we have in Trinidad and Tobago. There are many other people outside there that are not thinking critically. And again, we keep on coming here and highlighting these things on this program here as to break the chain, to rip away from the programming that many of you outside there are receiving. You see, it is only necessary that things like this must be done. Because at the end of the day, it will be uncomfortable for many of you. It will be uncomfortable because we are not accustomed how we define ourselves. I mean, how we define ourselves now is enshrined with this brainwashing that we would have received. And the thing about it is this, people at Trinidad and Tobago, you need to wake up. All of this was part of the program, but at the end of the day, there are some of you outside there that come on this program here for knowledge, for truth. And we are going to bring just that to you. What I am going to do here at this point in time is to play a tape so we could start the process here, and at some point in time in the future you will see the lines that we are drawing, we are continually drawing. Open your mind, citizens of the Republic. Open your mind.
He has also indicated to me that ISCOT will be submitting within the next few weeks its own proposals for marketing of its production. Underlying all of these arrangements and agreements is the fact of life, namely, that Trinidad and Tobago will have to seek export markets in the international community for the production that will come from these plants here at Point Lisa. The government, as a matter of policy and as exemplified in its sources of finance, in its sources of technology, and in its sources of raw materials, when these are necessary, has taken a decision to diversify wherever feasible in its marketing arrangements.
The first responsibility that devolves upon you is the protection and promotion of your democracy. Democracy means more, much more, than the right to vote, and one vote for every man and every woman of the prescribed age. Democracy means recognition of the rights of others. Democracy means the equality of all in the eyes of the law. Democracy means equality of opportunity for all in education, in the public service, and in private employment. I repeat, and in private employment. Democracy means the protection of the weak against the strong. Democracy means the obligation of the minority to recognize the right of the majority. Democracy means responsibility of the government to its citizens, the protection of the citizens from the exercise of arbitrary power and the violation of human freedom and individual rights. Democracy means freedom of worship for all and the subordination of the rights of any one race to the overriding right of the human race. Democracy means freedom of expression and assembly and organization. All that is democracy. All that is our democracy, to which I call upon all citizens to dedicate themselves on this our Independence Day.
At the time of independence, Williams had told the nation that there would be no Mother India for those ancestors who came from India, no Mother Africa for those of African origin, no Mother China, no Mother Lebanon, no Mother Syria. From now on, it is only Mother Trinidad and Tobago.
The peasant was doomed, and he was doomed because he was a peasant. The peasants was the most primitive and irrational form of exploitation. A class of barbarians, uniting in itself all the crudeness of primitive social forces with all the tortures and all the misery of modern society. That's what you want to put to your people down in Caroni? That's what Pandey want? Could we make our, Mr. Party Chairman, could we make our election statement here now? Nobody will liquidate the peasantry in Trinidad and Tobago as long as we have the PNM on
the citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. The type of politics that we are having within our country today is of no good to us. It's a politics of division. It's a politics that go against the needs and the rights of the people. And it's a politics that marginalize plenty of the citizens of this country. And the reason for this broadcast here, always on a timely basis, is to show you, the people at Trinidad and Tobago, that there are people here with testicular fortitude. And we are calling on you to be brothers with us in this. It's better we stand as brothers and survive as brothers, or die as fools or as enemies in this case. The structures in Trinidad and Tobago is falling apart. And we are witnessing that today. You hear them talk about NIS. That is on the verge of collapse. You hear them talk about adding property tax because the country is on the verge of collapse. You're hearing about money missing all over. You're seeing that we are running into debts all over. And we are not getting accountability. No matter where we ask, there are certain things that is not being divulged to us in this country to give the average citizen a fighting chance. And we are here sitting and watching this taking place. So we come here every day to urge you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, to stand up, stand for something. No way a minister should be able to make that statement and get away with it. No way a minister, the minister of finance, 3 billion could go missing and get away with it. No way that should be possible underneath this sun. And we are coming here and bringing arguments upon arguments that at the end of the day that you could analyze and dissect critically. There is a particular argument that we will like you to look at. Right there in front of your face, we have been here bringing facts upon facts, coming here every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and sometimes in between. So that ain't go happen to you. Take what we are saying and analyze everything. So again, tune in to us on Saturday, where we will be bringing a certain amount of truth to you. Pay attention. Don't let it take you by storm. And with that, I am out.